One of these snakes can kill you, but how do you tell which snakes are bluffing and which one's the real deal? I'll give you a hint, it's not the rhyme. And since these snakes are rarely seen by people, they're bound to be hiding some really unusual secrets besides deadly venom. I'm Spencer Hoffman, and I'm gonna be hunting down the tricolor snakes of North America with the hopes of discovering the incredible secrets of the deadly coral snake. My search takes me to northern Florida, where my friend Zach has already stumbled onto our first brilliantly colored reptile. But is it dangerous? What is that? What is that?
Scarlet King.
Is that a Scarlet King?
Yeah. Look at the baby.
Nice.
He's in shed. Bright red head. They've got a really peculiar look in this area.
Would you look at that? This is a cute little Scarlet King. Normally, these are really brightly colored snakes. You can see that 3-colored patterning. Now, the only reason I'm holding this snake is because I can identify this as a Scarlet King snake. This is a mimic of another very special snake that can be found in this area, the eastern coral snake, one of our only native elapids here in the US. That would be a treat to find. Now, this guy was living right under the bark here. And we've been actually looking under the bark for scorpions and huge blue centipedes. We were not expecting to find this on a tree. We were hoping to find one of his invertebrate roommates. Look again and just see if there's nothing scorpions back there. Nope. But that is a special little snake. These are usually going to be eating little lizards, and this one would not be eating other snakes. Larger Scarlet Kings would be eating other snakes out here in the longleaf, potentially even one of our big, huge targets, the coral snake. How about that? Beautiful little Scarlet King snake. We're gonna put him right back underneath his bark and let him go back to whatever the heck he was doing. You might not have known it, but this was actually the first tricolor snake I've seen in my life. Such a beautiful creature. They really don't look real up close, but these king snakes are non-venomous. It's the toxic elapids they mimic that will really get my blood pumping. If you would have asked me a few years ago what I'd do if I saw a venomous snake, I'd probably say that I'd pee myself. I'll admit it. The idea that a venomous bite could end your life is pretty scary, but I've had encounter after encounter with venomous wildlife, and if they've taught me anything, it's that just like their non-venomous counterparts, they're actually really misunderstood. From spiders to snakes to centipedes, the animals that scared me the most have become the ones I'm most excited to see. And let me tell you, the tricolors are breathtaking. But what makes them so special? They're really striking. Honestly, they don't even look real. Because of that incredible coloration, you don't even have to like snakes to appreciate how just unusual these snakes look. But that bright color means they have like zero camouflage in the environment. And with no camouflage, that means if you're out in the open, it's pretty easy pickings for a lot of your predators. So as a result, these tricolor snakes live really secretive lives. In the snake hunting world, they're really popular targets because they're so hard to find, but we actually don't think they're necessarily rare. They seem to be kind of everywhere, but due to their subterranean and secretive lifestyle, you just never see them, which makes my life incredibly difficult. Ever since starting this channel, I've hoped to one day come across a coral snake. We were able to see the desert variety with the help of the expert snake hunters Rob and Nick from Smetlogic Herping, but it's the large, vibrant snakes of the southeast that really pack a punch. They're larger, more toxic, and of course, even harder to find. Zach and I spent almost a full week turning over this longleaf pine forest for these snakes, and saw neither hide nor scale of one. I've got my work cut out for me. Problem is, I have no idea how to find them. Like, I've looked through every database I can think of. They seem to be everywhere and nowhere at the same time. I don't get it. It's starting to get dark, which is perfect for us because you've heard the phrase, things that go bump in the night. Well, during this twilight hour, you get some of your best stuff starting to move. Your wolf spiders, your rattlesnakes, your copperheads, they all kind of move at this time. So we're really just kind of poking around everywhere and just seeing what turns up. I've joined Zach out in the field again, this time in southern Mississippi. It's springtime, meaning that reptiles are starting to move for the year. We've got two main targets in mind, the eastern diamondback rattlesnake and the eastern coral snake. We've got high hopes, but we know the odds. We've got high hopes, but we know the odds. We're searching for needles in a haystack, only the needles might be hunkering down underground with no chance of us ever seeing them. By checking cover and drift fences, we're hoping to rustle up one that was on the move recently, but we're not seeing anything. As the sun sinks below the horizon, rattlesnakes are off the table, but Zachary assures me that the later it gets, the better chance we have at corals. So we get hiking into the darkness, watching for the glints of scales amidst the underbrush. Our first find of the night wasn't what we expected, though, and happens to be one of my favorite snakes. What are you doing out this late? Check this out. This is one of my favorite types of snakes, the rough green snakes. Now this is a really neat little find out here after dark. Where I'm from in North Carolina, I'm used to seeing these guys out pretty much only in the day. This is a rough green snake, and they get their name. It's not very creative. It's got a little bit of a rough scale pattern, and they're green. And that provides perfect camouflage in pretty much any arboreal environment. It's a very arboreal snake. You can see they're really good climbers. I can just let him go. He's gonna climb all over me. That camouflage is why they're one of my favorite all-time snakes. I love all these cryptic little creatures we can find that blend in and match their environment. And even though it's just a simple green color, out here it would look just like a vine. And since they're pretty nondescript, they don't stick out unless you shine them with a light. They glare right back at you, and that camouflage doesn't work too well. So I was able to spot this guy sticking out in this little bush here. Now what he's looking for are actually insects. Normally we think of snakes as eating other reptiles, or particularly mammals. Rat snakes, rattlesnakes, copperheads eat a lot of mice and stuff. These guys, almost exclusively insects. Though I'd have to guess if there was a lizard or a frog small enough, it would probably try and take it down. They're fairly opportunistic ambush hunters, slowly climbing through these branches. And sometimes they'll even do a little bit of a slight swaying motion to kind of match a vine or a branch swaying in the wind. Really crazy little guys. Almost looks like something you'd find in the tropics more than something that you'd see in North America, but absolutely exciting to see out here, and hopefully a good sign that we'll see some really cool, crazy reptiles later in the night. Most snakes, even venomous ones, rely on their camouflage for cover. They've found that hiding from their prey makes life so much easier. But not our target. The coral snake has absolutely no camouflage in this environment, and that is on purpose. We've established that basically all of these tricolor snakes live subterranean lifestyles, and when you stumble onto one, it can really make you jump. Bright colors stick out in nature and serve as a warning. Danger. In the case of the coral snake, it's true, but as the night transitioned into the wee hours of the morning, we stumbled onto another snake that actually uses bright colors to bluff, and this find was truly special.
Dude, he's... What the heck, dude? That's insane. Let's go. They're so small. Good eye, dude. Let's go. That's sick.
I saw red. I'm like,
that is so sick. Oh my goodness.
Those are pretty.
Gorgeous, dude. Good eye.
Now this is a species of snake I have never seen before in my life. And not only did we find one, we found two, and we found them doing something a little bit private, but a little bit unusual to catch on camera. These are scarlet snakes. And what's funny about them is they're highly fossorial, almost entirely subterranean, and you can't script this. I didn't even get the initial spot, but as soon as I saw them, I started filming, because when you see red, black, and white out here, it could be a great many things, all of which are very, very special. Now these guys are primarily going to be eating lizards and lizard eggs, right?
Yeah, mostly lizard eggs, supposedly. I would argue they can't only be eating eggs, but everybody says they're primarily egg eaters.
We've seen quite a few lizards underneath the tin and board set out here. So these guys have their pick of the litter as to what to eat. And look at the size of them. Now, I know scarlet snakes to be fairly small, especially this female is a little over a foot long. That means these guys are eating really, really good. They're healthy, they're vibrant snakes, and oh man, so special to see. These guys have red on black with white and a white belly. The animal that they're mimicking, which is highly venomous, does not have patterning like that. Now you will get some aberrant colors, but that white belly and a very pointy little head, odds are you're dealing with a scarlet snake and not anything that could severely hurt you. There's actually this really popular old rhyme, red on black, venom lack, red on yellow, kill a fellow, that people used to use to help identify the venomous coral snake versus the non-venomous lookalikes. But the reason I don't actually teach that rhyme is because it's actually really, really dangerous to use it, because the only part of the world that only has coral snakes with red on yellow patterning is the southeast US. Outside of the US, it is not a reliable way to identify a coral snake. And even in the range where it's useful, you have so many mutant color morphs that going off the rhyme alone is a great way to get yourself killed. What I use as a biologist is actually anatomy cues and more subtle pattern differences to figure out which snakes are safe to handle and which ones aren't. In the US, coral snakes have bands that go all the way around their body, where most of the lookalikes that have red banding don't. Scarlet king snakes tend to have a much rounder, skinnier face, where the coral snake actually has this blunted, grumpy looking snout. And it's actually that face shape that really gives away what lineage the coral snake is from. Look at the faces of cobras and taipans, some of the deadliest elapids in the world, and you'll notice they all have that same kind of elapid face shape. You don't see that same kind of snout with your scarlet king snakes and scarlet snakes. And the scarlet snakes have a very pointy face because they're digging through loose sand and stuff and actually burrowing. They need anatomy that helps them dig and burrow, which gives them their distinct look. And scarlet snakes are actually one of the more rare of this tricolor group. So seeing these guys in the wild is unbelievably special. But that's not the only thing that's special about this encounter. We found these snakes exhibiting a behavior that isn't observed very often at all. Absolutely crazy. I think they're actually currently mating still. Yeah, they're still mating, which is a little gross. But honestly though, it's something that you don't get to see all too often in the wild. And something I talk about on this channel so often is how the more you get out, the more you see unusual, lesser known creatures, and every single outing is a chance to see something brand new. These are a snake where we don't know a whole lot about their biology. We know roughly that they eat lizard eggs and that they're very fossorial, but because of their secretive nature, they are something that we're still studying and still learning and discovering new things about every single day. There are very, very few clips of these guys mating in the wild. I didn't even know that they came to the surface to breed. That's something that I definitely did not know and is potentially interesting record for the scientific community. So people who are into the whole herping scene out there, let me know in the comments if that's something that you think is special. I think it's special, and I certainly think these snakes are special. What a rush. A snake I'd never seen in my life, and a potential observation that teaches us more about their unusual biology, and yet still empty-handed on coral snakes. That's the thing with tricolor snakes. They are incredibly hard to target. The king snakes can be manageable if you know a hot spot, but scarlet snakes and corals seem to almost turn up only when they want to. There might be something to that, actually. You know, it's like my whole goal with these videos is to, you know, discover the incredible secrets of the planet we live on and share them with you. And, you know, I put a lot into trying to find these creatures. But what's really frustrating is sometimes you just can't. It's almost like the answer is not to look. There are some secrets, like the coral snake, that it seems like the natural world just kind of keeps close and only reveals to you when it's ready. I think I just need to be in the right habitat and at the right time and hope for the best. To find a coral snake, I would have to be looking for something else entirely. Nearly 6 months after finding the scarlet snakes in that Mississippi forest, I'm back in Florida, trying my luck again at searching for the eastern diamondback rattlesnake. my white whale. I'm joined by my good friend Jack this time on a film trip to essentially bulk up on videos for the winter. We hoped for a rattlesnake, but came into this adventure with no specific expectations, which may have been exactly the conditions that nature was waiting for. After a week of some really odd finds, we find ourselves cleaning up footage and segments for a spider documentary on the final day before we head home. We made the best of spotty weather, intermittent rain and low temps, dreary skies, the kind of weather that chills you to your core. We'd hoped that maybe our last day would surprise us with a rattlesnake, but as the wind whipped through the longleaf pines, we made peace with the fact that we probably wouldn't be seeing any reptiles today. As we filmed some of our favorite species of spiders, we felt a certain serenity. We had come down to Florida, found some interesting wildlife, and had a great time, which was all we could really ask for. In between shoots, the rain picked up and forced us into cover for our electronics. I was low on macro shots of the shrubs and plants, so I decided to grab a couple of shots of a fledgling pine that was growing in the shade of a willow tree, and in doing so, caught the exact moment when Jack literally lost his mind behind me.
Oh my god!
What?
Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh!
What?
Coral snake,
What?
Coral snake!
No! What the heck?
Check this out! Oh my
Careful,
gosh!
careful.
Oh no, we're good. Look at this, bro.
What the heck?
Eastern coral snake. My life for Eastern coral! Yes! Oh man, all day we've been saying, oh, it's a pretty good coral snaky day out here. And check it out. Finally! This is my first coral snake in the US. I get skunked on them every time I go out looking for them. And I have finally got the elapid of Florida.
This is probably the last thing we expected to get, and you can see right now Jack is on handling duty. This is a snake that is so unbelievably toxic that one slip up, we're far enough away from medical care that might be a death sentence.
It's definitely very serious.
Yeah. So
very serious.
what we've got right here is the Eastern coral snake, and that is one legendary animal, one of the rarest things. Like, it's so rare that, so we're actually out here, we're hiking for red widows, which you know are rare. This wasn't even on our radar of things that we were looking for. We knew they were like generally out here, but this is not something we expected to see. Like, I had to pull this hook out of my backpack because we weren't even hiking with like snake hooks. We're looking for jumping spiders, looking for red widows, we're looking for spiders. But in this section of Florida, get a little bit of rain, it's always possible to find something really special. Just look at the coloration on this animal. They are beautiful, stunning creatures.
Absolutely.
And that color actually serves a very specific purpose.
Yeah, exactly right. These bright contrasting colors, these are aposematic. That means that this animal is telling everyone else, do not mess with me, not once. I am incredibly toxic, and if I have to defend myself, it could end with you losing your life. Even larger animals, just a little bit of this venom, a tiny bite from not a very large snake could cause respiratory paralysis. You're basically suffocating to death because your diaphragm muscles cannot force air into your lungs anymore. You suffocate.
Yep.
That's usually how you would die from an elapid bite like this.
With venomous bites and stings, the dosage makes the poison. Not only is this snake incredibly toxic, but with this size of an animal, it's gonna have more than enough venom to inflict a lethal bite on pretty much anything it come across. And what's crazy about why it's out right here, it's late fall here in Florida. It's chilly, but that's actually working in this snake's favor. If there was gonna be a day we'd find a coral snake, today was that day.
Exactly right.
When it's cool like this, reptiles are ectotherms. They rely on external temperature to actually regulate their metabolism and move. A day like today, they're all very slow. And the coral snake has adapted to that. Over millions of years, they've basically gotten to the point where this colder temperature doesn't affect them that much. And it gives them a super amazing strategic advantage. Those snakes are slow, sluggish, and just not prepared to fend off the incredible toxic bite of the coral snakes. I'm shaking a little bit. That's actually the caffeine. We've caffeine.
That's what he says. That's what he says, folks. No, this is a big deal.
Yeah.
This is a big deal, folks at home. This really and truly is our most dangerous native coral snake. There's never been a death from the equally sized Texas coral snake confirmed in world medical literature. This is the one to really worry about. And so that's why it's so important that we show you that this snake isn't interested in doing anything to harm us as long as we stay calm and collected. Keep your eyes out. If you step on this animal in, flip-flops or sandals, that's not going to work out for you. But for the most part, this is not an aggressive or scary animal you need to be worried about every time you leave your home, even if you live well within their range.
That is, I mean, that's breathtaking. Like, to be hands-on is just, like, you're not seeing us like act here. We're completely dumbfounded we even came across this thing.
Yeah.
I'm watching where my hand is at here.
There's such a cool feeling snake too, those glossy scales. This animal is primarily fossorial for a lot of the time, so they're snaking underneath pine needles and rotten logs searching for those skinks and lizards and smaller snakes, and those glossy scales just help them slip right through the underbrush to chase that prey.
And there's a common misconception about these guys. I've heard in the comments people saying, oh, they're rear fanged, they're not that bad. Couldn't be further from the truth.
No.
Unlike vipers or hinged fanged snakes, these guys have short, fixed fangs in the front of their mouth.
At the front.
If I was wearing like leather gloves right now, I could probably free handle it without any issues because they're so short, they actually can't puncture through a lot of material. Even gardening gloves, I'd say I wouldn't take the risk, but you probably would be fine. Yeah. But they need those front fixed fangs because of their lifestyle. When they're burrowing underground, they don't have room to open their mouth and, have these big hinged fangs that work into their prey. They need short little fangs they can just go and poke their prey, and hopefully the prey will die from the neurotoxins, which they can then track it back down and eat it. This right here is the king of the snakes in North America. Rattlesnakes are special. This just hits a little bit different. And man, great spot by Jack. Thank you so much for your help.
Man, well, this trip was made possible because we came together to make it happen, and so this is ever much as your success as it is my success, or my success as it is your success, or our success as much as it is our success. This was really the culmination of hard work, hours in the field, and Mother Nature felt that we deserved a reward. Yep. And she gave us just about the best one that she had.
As this snake is slithering away, it's like, did that even happen? It's hard to even believe that this was real. A lot of the best encounters with wildlife are just like this, because the more you're out, the more you just come across these incredible secrets as they decide to reveal themselves to you. Tricolor snakes are some of the coolest snakes in the world. And when you mix that incredible, amazing patterning with toxic, deadly venom, you get one really special snake. But there is another snake here in the US that is actually more toxic and more potent than the coral snake, and that is the tiger rattlesnake. If you want to learn more about that incredible creature and why it's one of the top 5 most venomous snakes in the world, check out this video right here. Hope to see you there, but until next time, don't forget to get outside and find your own adventure.